Hello all, I'm Kadros, and this is the introduction to my Fire Emblem Fates Conquest Minimum Map Challenge. So what is the challenge? Well, the main goal is to defeat Takumi in Conquest Endgame in as few maps as possible. Maps can be skipped, allowing the player to choose which maps to play or which maps to not play, and the main goal is to try to gather resources as efficiently as possible to defeat Endgame. So why is this challenge important, or why is it hard? Well, in other runs like 0% growth or even negative growths, you'll have access to every unit, tons of gold to get, really good weaponry, child units, inheritance, time to do skill dipping, time for marriage, and partner seals. It becomes a lot easier to build a good damage stack on a unit and get tons of good supporting units as well with rally skills. But in this type of challenge, that's going to be a lot harder to do. So what are the rules? Well, we're going to be using the Paragon Editor to start at any chapter in the game and skip any chapters. We're only going to be using resources from cleared maps, such as gold, units, even dragon vein points, and the facilities that you unlock from those maps. So a part of the strategy of this challenge is clearing the correct maps to unlock the correct facilities and their upgrades to get better items. And there will be no use of DLC items, Branch of Fate bonuses, My Castle cheese such as Lottery Shop, Infinite Support Building, status buffs, etc. Also, Corrin is considered innate, and thus is always part of the party, regardless of the starting chapter. I will also not be using shop sales. Every once in a while, a certain class of items, such as lances in the shop, will be on sale. I will not be making use of that. This is also not an LTC challenge, this is a low map challenge. So the overall strategy of this is to try to get through Conquest Endgame, of course. However, as you probably know, Conquest Endgame is packed with very high stat enemies, and also has infinite reinforcements, infinitely stacking debuffs from the maids, and of course Takumi's map-wide lasers. So normally when you're clearing this map, you're going to need a diverse array of characters with very strong weapons and skills to take it on normally. Or we could rescue chain to one-shot Takumi, ending the map instantly. So for the rescue chain boss kill, we're obviously going to be utilizing rescue chaining to skip most of the map. This has a few requirements though, and that requires high movement units, Azura's refresh, rescue staves, entrap, or sometimes pass as well, a high stats boss killer, and rallies and other support buffs. This run essentially is now becoming how quickly can we gather the resources necessary to kill Takumi in endgame. So the boss killer that we're going to be using is Corrin, and the reasoning for this is pretty simple. He is immediately available and has really good customization that allows us to get him to very high stat thresholds. Immediately with a strength boon, he gets a 70% strength growth rate, which is really fantastic. And through a samurai talent, he can get access to Swordfare, Astra, Life and Death, which is a huge damage stack to just get right away. It's also notable that other units in Conquest don't get access to the samurai class unless they want to go through Heartsteel, but those characters are Odin and Kaze, which have fairly low base strength and fairly low strength growths too. Another benefit for Corrin is that nobility gives them plus 20% EXP gain, which is actually really useful because most of the time in this challenge, Corrin will be underleveled, and so this 20% EXP boost adds up really quickly. Also, Corrin is pretty much the only unit that can realistically hit these kill benchmarks on Takumi. When I was initially trying out this challenge for the first time before I did this final attempt, I actually tried out using Mozu. The issue with that is that you have to go through a map and several other maps just to get her going. However, with Corrin, he's obviously available right away. So the routing of this will go as follows. We will start on chapter 7 because there's many very useful units. Elise is really useful, Effie is really useful, Silas is really useful, Arthur is pretty useful. Every unit on that map is pretty essential to the clear. It also serves as an initial training ground for Corrin. Chapter 8 comes with 10,000 gold, and Niles, who's also going to be essential for this challenge. It's also another training map for Corrin, and also, by clearing that map, we get access to the prison. Chapter 9 just has a few generally good resources, such as a free heart seal and some gold. Most notably, however, it has Azura and the rescue staff. Chapter 13, most importantly, grants access to the Tier 2 armory shops, which allows us to get better weaponry. It also has Benny and Charlotte, and also other loot. Chapter 20 has access to Tier 3 shops upon completion, another rescue staff, which is very important for our endgame clear, a bunch of gold, and also serves as a very large training arc for our Corrin. And Chapter 22 is mostly used to train up Corrin once more. It also has some very useful captures. And of course, we end with Endgame, where we will obviously kill Takumi. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this initial introduction video. Next video will start on Chapter 7. Thank you so much.